We were very fortunate middle of last year to be awarded the DARE Hub, which is the national hub looking at decarbonised, adaptive and resilient infrastructure for transport. And that's where the big data and the models really come in, because there's a lot of work on decarbonising transport systems and services and decarbonising infrastructure to some extent, not so much on the resilience. So trying to put the two together is really interesting, because what you may think is good for decarbonising infrastructure and decarbonising transport systems such as electrification may not actually be very good for resilience. I think if you have electrification, the resilience of the transport system may be less if you're relying on just one fuel source, which isn't as distributed as fuel stations where you collect petrol and diesel, for example. So got a big project just started on that. Big hub, not project. I get told if I call it a project, where we're trying to bring together all the expertise in the UK on top of the 4 universities that form the hub themselves, which is ourselves, Cambridge, Heriot-Watt University in Glasgow, and all the stakeholders. We're trying to bring the whole of the university expertise, the whole of the UK expertise together to actually understand this field and provide that advice to government. And I think that's really, really important, particularly looking at developing these models, some at different scales, macro scale, micro scale. Some might be looking at agent models of how people walk and use cycling and other things for decarbonised transport. Others might be looking at weather, and we've got a weather model which you can look at a region or a city and actually predict what the extremes of weather might be like in 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago. So, 40 years time. So what are the extremes of weather? What's that going to do to the infrastructure? How do we transition to that more resilient infrastructure now?